Hello, everybody. Welcome to TOS Sports, your daily fix for all things cricket and Indian cricket specifically. This is Beyond the Boundary, and today to discuss all things that happened in yesterday's final group game between India and New Zealand, we have got a power pack panel straight from Chennai. Is Dwepan Datta, who's in a different setting than his usual place. And then we have Nitin Naik joining us from Mumbai. And straight from Dubai, we have Gaurav Gupta, who's joining us from the ICC, I beg your pardon, the Dubai International Stadium. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us. We'll start off with Gaurav. Big win yesterday for India in that final game, though inconsequential. But apart from them, there were 30 others, or should we say about 60 others, waiting for the outcome of that game. So, in that sense, the game was very important, Gaurav.
Yes, definitely. Regarding the fortunes of the semi-final, who's going to meet whom? This match was extremely important, and I thought it could have been sort of if this fixture was on Saturday, then Pakistan, then South Africa and Australia would not have needed to travel to Dubai beforehand, and have a practice session here as well to get acclimatized to the conditions. This whole business of the telecaster dictating that only one match should be held a day. This should be discontinued with completely. The ICC and the way it conducts its tournaments needs a major reform. What has happened with this tournament should never be repeated again. I think it will never be repeated again. I don't think no team is ever going to get a five-match advantage playing at a single venue the way India have got in Dubai right now. Having said that, India deserve credit for the way they've been playing so far. They were absolutely brilliant yesterday in terms of bowling, in terms of the employing that master stroke of playing four spinners. I don't think I've ever seen an ICC prepared pitch which has turned like this and which has offered so much help to the spinners. Which again brings us to the question that is everything being designed in a way that India beat all their opponents hollow and advance to the knockouts easily and to the semi-finals and the final. But having said that, I thought Varun Chakravarthy made a brilliant comeback and he was outstanding in the way he bowled yesterday. We were asking questions virtually every ball, and I think it will be very hard to ignore him now from now onwards from India's ODI team as well. I see him starting in the semi-final against Australia and in the final as well.
Uh, Early salvo from Gigi. Didi, now up to you. Uh, do you agree with what Gaurav is saying about the fact that India has got all the advantage? Basically, Gaurav is saying whatever Nasser Hussain and Michael Atherton and Rassi van der Dussen and even Pat Cummins to some extent, or the whole of the Pakistani media has been saying. Can we club Gaurav with that lot now?
I agree with him partially, but the fact that the pitch not turning as much as this much in an ICC tournament, I think Gaurav has forgotten the 1996 semi-final. But yeah, so and when if the pitch wasn't like vicious turner, otherwise. Almost 460 runs wouldn't have been scored. The way Williamson was batting, it didn't look like a vicious turn. Yes, there was some help for spinners, but it was the mastery of the Indian spinners that won the match, not the pitch. Like if you are playing in England, there will be movement, there will be seam. A World Cup final was won with 235 or 240 on the board. So at that point of time, there was no talk about it. No, I am not being a jingoist or a nationalist, but I do not think that this was a vicious turner. This had help for the spinners, and that is true for subcontinental cricket. It can't be helped.
Then both Gigi and Dwepen differing on a particular point.
Hmm.
Where do you stand on that?
No, there has been definitely unfair. I mean, I wouldn't say unfair, but undeniable. Let me borrow the phrase from Messrs. Atherton and Nasir Hussain, saying undeniable advantage. Yes, India have had an undeniable advantage. The fact that they two teams had to travel all the way from Lahore and all four semi-finalists being in one city, and I thought that was a bit strange. I think that just showed that the scheduling was a bit skewed. What why I did not why I feel so is I thought this semi-final could have been held on Wednesday and the other one could have been held on Thursday. So that would have given that would have meant that South Africa also need not have travelled to Lahore yesterday, and they could have waited for yesterday's game to end, and then stayed back in Lahore and waited for New Zealand to come over and played them. Uh, Although I feel that I do not know what my other colleagues think about this. I think that I think New Zealand also probably erred yesterday. I thought that they should have played Devon Conway yesterday. I think he plays spin beautifully, and he's had a wood over Indian spinners. And Dwaipan mentioned about the 1996 semi-final. I would also draw your attention, and Gaurav would remember this, to the 2016 opening contest against New Zealand in Nagpur of the T20 World Cup. I think India got bowled out for a sub 100 score there, and New Zealand, despite getting a very very modest first, I think that pitch was designed for Indian spinners, but I think New Zealand and especially Santner, I think outbowled India over there. So yes, unfair advantage, yes, but this Indian team, I think, will play good cricket on any surface. Right now, their skill sets are so high, and they're such a flexible lineup that they know how to get out of a tricky situation. They will not repeat the mistakes that they made in Sri Lanka of going hard all the time.
Interesting first, salvos. We have a comment here from one of our subscribers, Akshay Venegam. He says, but these issues regarding unfair advantage could have been brought up when the schedule was announced. Why did anybody mention anything then? Gaurav, Akshay, one of our subscribers, makes a valid point here.
No, well, these issues should have been brought up. I agree with this that when it was announced, then I think it skipped everybody's attention. I mean, the very fact that this tournament was being held in a this hybrid model, I think created this sort of a problem. And I think मुझे लगता है hybrid model का भी at the end है अब, because I don't think it's working out. Yeah, I mean this whole business of I think if a team is not willing to play in a particular nation, then that team should be told that boss आप ये tournament skip कर दीजिए, let the other nations play in it. Unless cricket evolves into a strongly governed sport, this nonsense will keep happening. But I strictly believe that if Pakistan was the host of the tournament and India were not willing to go there, and this problem had come up, then India could have skipped this tournament. वैसे भी बीसीसीआई तो ज्यादा इंडिया बहुत ऐसा कोई नहीं होता कि चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी आप नहीं खेलते तो कुछ यहाँ पर वो हो जाता, जबरदस्त तरीके से कुछ वो हो जाता. So I think it would have made sense if India would have skipped the tournament. The rest of the tournament would have happened in Pakistan. I agree that टेलीकास्टर के साथ बहुत मेजर इशू, बट आई थिंक ये टेलीकास्टर को तो थोड़ा सा बोलना चाहिए भाई, तुम क्रिकेट जो है दिखाओ और क्रिकेट को गवर्न मत करो. क्योंकि ये जो सारा नॉनसेंस हुआ है इसमें टेलीकास्टर का भी बहुत बड़ा हाथ है कि दिन में एक मैच दिखाएंगे 50 ओवर का, अगर उसमें बारिश हो गई तो फिर आई मीन फॉर लास्ट 1 week आई हैव बीन हियर from imagine from the second match that India played against Pakistan, and then you have another the next game against New Zealand on March 2nd. That is utter nonsense. In no sport in the world will you have a World Cup or a global trophy where you have such a long gap between two matches. So ICC really needs to sort of pull up its act and pull up its socks and take things completely from a different point of view. Unless things are going to be it's going to be a complete mess जिस तरीके से चल रहा है. I'll just take your leave because I'll just have to attend a press conference. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Dwepan, so we have this question from one of the other viewer of ours. He's saying, what unfair, the same Indian team traveled to all venues during World Cup 2023. Where was the travel fatigue then? And you mentioned about this previously as well.
I did, and I think he's partially right. See, one thing we will have to agree that because the money is in India, there has to be like India will get these advantages. The media rights money is from the Indian market, so if we know how cricket functions. So these are realities that teams will have to live with. Like England, Australia, they are very powerful boards. Had they taken a stand, they could have taken it. They did not take it because they know that this is what it is. So there is no point crying over spilled milk. This is what it is going to be like in cricket, and everybody has to deal with this. This is Indian cricket. This is India is the Donald Trump of world cricket. Like you can't do anything about it. You deal with it. That's what it is. And yes, India did travel to all the venues. Rohit Sharma said before the tournament that हम लोग भारत दर्शन में निकले हैं, but we are going to embrace it. So ठीक है चलो. India is the better team. Let's face it. On these conditions, India is the better team. If India had to travel to five venues, then also they would have won. So it doesn't matter actually.
Nitin, coming back to that game yesterday, India was in a spot of bother, losing the top order. But then Shreyas Iyer showing once again why he's a important member of this Indian ODI setup. He's not part of the other two squads, but he's a very important member of this ODI setup. And because India plays so few one-day internationals, people tend to forget that he's not a former India player or he's not a dropped India player. He's very much an India player because he plays one-day cricket for India.
Yeah, and another word, that is often abused by the media people is India discard. So he's not even an India discard. Uh, he he actually, the way yesterday he constructed his innings, I felt that what if he had walked out at number four in that 2019 semi-final? That number four was made into such a mess during that World Cup, the entire World Cup campaign, and I think India played about four wicket keepers in that playing 11 in that semi-final. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong with that number. I think we had four wicket keepers playing in that game.
Yeah,
So that situation would not have come. I feel that if India go on to win the trophy, I think Rohit Sharma should hand it first to three guys. One is Shreyas Iyer, the other is Akshar Patel, and the other is Hardik Pandya. I mean, Akshar and Hardik. I mean, Hardik is the bridge that connects, the lower order with the top order. I mean, what a knock that he played yesterday, and what a beautiful spell he bowled against Pakistan. And even yesterday, opening the bowling, getting movement, bowling with decent pace and decent the delivery that he bowled to Rachin Ravindra, forcing that error from him to Akshar Patel at third man. Akshar, I think, is the MVP of this batting lineup. I mean, there are more starry names here, but I think he's the undeniable MVP of this lineup ever since June 29, 2024.
Dwepan, Hardik Pandya, my mind boggles to think what would have been the case if he was fit throughout the 2023 ODI World Cup because he provides the kind of balance that very few cricketers provide. And amazingly, India didn't even have Aksar in the squad for the 2023 ODI World Cup. They left him out and brought in Ravichandran Ashwin. So these two guys, imagine these two guys were part of that ODI World Cup. India could probably have ended up winning that ODI World Cup.
Yeah, India should have ended up winning the ODI World Cup, whatever, whoever played. Like I don't know how they lost that final. Like it is beyond mystery to me. Like, but yeah, having said that, yes. But then if Hardik Pandya was playing, then Shami wouldn't have played the 2023 World Cup, where he was absolutely brilliant once he came in. He might not have been playing. So that is there, but yes, taken all things into consideration, yes, Hardik Pandya is a vital cog, is an extremely important cog in this Indian machine. Without him, India lacks the balance. That three all-rounder theory that India has forged for white ball cricket, this is the way to go. From the last T20 World Cup, they have decided that they are going to play three all-rounders in the middle, and for that, this Hardik Pandya and Akshar Patel are just like magnificent fits in that machine. Yeah, they are good players, superb fielders, comes up with good runs, hard runs, I would say, and more than decent bowling. Just perfect all rounders. Like India, like never had this much of balance in their team. Maybe in the 1983 World Cup they had this kind of a balance. Other than that, I don't remember they having this much balance, and it has a lot to do with these two players.
Aksar, Hardik, and also Ravindra Jadeja, who's
Ravindra
been
Jadeja,
razor
yes,
sharp on the field. 83 World Cup, 85 World Championship of Cricket,
yes.
two tournaments that come to mind,
2011,
and even the
2011 also.
2011 World Cup and also the 2002 Champions Trophy, where
Yeah,
Ganguly had multiple options with the batters being able to bowl. And that has been a problem,
yeah,
Nitin, for India in the white ball format since the 2014-15, that since that lot, the 2011 lot went away. India had not got the balance right with a number of batters doing only one thing or bowlers doing only one thing. The balance is finally there.
yeah. I mean, Tendulkar bowled in that World Cup final in 2011. He bowled pretty well. He bowled, I think, couple of overs, and he was quite economical. Yuvraj Singh, Suresh Raina. Look at the number of people who Virendra Sehwag. All these guys, in fact, Virendra Sehwag bowled that last over in the 2002 Champions Trophy semi-final against South Africa, and he defended 18 or 21 runs or whatever it was. And we miss. I think what has happened is because our superstars uh, probably have become so batting centric, or maybe their fitness doesn't allow them to bowl. Rohit has a back issue. Virat has had back issues and other ortho issues that he's been troubled with from time to time. I think they both neglected their bowling skills. Rohit, I think, had. I think Rohit, if I'm not mistaken, is the only guy in IPL cricket to have 100 and a hat trick. It just boggles me how they can just let one skill evaporate so easily when the whole world is moving towards dual skilled or maybe triple skilled players. Um, uh, and credit to the Indian team management for now again recognizing the fact that all rounders are the need of the hour, and Akshar, Hardik, Jadeja, Washington Sundar. Uh, yeah, I mean these guys are just invaluable.
Uh, Talking about the skills, one player that everybody is concerned about is KL Rahul. Now he comes in after Akshar Patel in the batting lineup. His keeping was also a bit dodgy on a pitch that turns affords a bit of turn with four spinners in play. Dwepen, would you be tempted to bring in Rishabh instead of KL Rahul in the semi-final, or is it too big a contest to like let go of a player like KL Rahul?
See, if you ask me again, I will say that Rishabh Pant should have been playing from the first game, but the team management has decided that they will go with KL Rahul. And now that they have decided and come this far, I do not think there is any chance of changing, and there is no need to change also, because KL Rahul also on these conditions where you do not need those massive runs. This is not a 350, 375 kind of a pitch. So these are 250, 260 kind of pitches, and where you need those 25, 30 runs in the middle, which will be very important. So that for that game, I think KL Rahul is good. He can maneuver the strike. He plays spin well. So, and I don't think they should look to change at this stage of the tournament. If they had like they had pre-decided that they are going to go with Rahul, and they will go with Rahul. But going forward, I think India should rethink this wicketkeeper strategy and play Rishabh Pant with 2027 ODI World Cup in mind. I don't think there is any necessity to go into 2027 ODI World Cup with KL Rahul as the keeper.
Nitin, where do you stand on this debate?
I don't know, Chandrash. I mean, I feel that if Rishabh Pant has to come in, then one of Rahul or Shreyas has to sit out. I don't think India has the luxury of playing Pant, Shreyas, and Rahul in the same 11. For because they end up, unless of course we have a couple of retirements from either the captain or the biggest white ball player that India has produced after Tendulkar. So um, unless one of these two guys go out, I don't see Rahul and Shreyas and Pant playing in the same 11. Even even if it is the 2027 World Cup. Yes, if there are opportunities that open up, then I think Rahul will move a couple of positions up, and then Pant and Shreyas both can bat in the middle order. But at the moment, after having come so far, as Vaipan rightly put it, in this tournament, in such a compact tournament, such a tight tournament, I don't think they will, because they know if it goes. They did that mistake in that Adelaide semi-final, isn't it? They played Rishabh Pant and they dropped Dinesh Karthik. And what did he come in for? He came in for two balls, and he just did not have enough time because Rohit, Virat, and KL Rahul, I think, consumed almost 60 deliveries together. So I don't think they'll risk the anger of the Indian public of changing the squad and risking it going all wrong. I mean, I think the mandate from the Indian fan is Badla of November 19, 2023.
Unless there is a mysterious injury overnight.
Yeah,
And
unless there is a serious injury.
be- because hamstrings are always very dodgy. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
KL has already
yeah.
had, I think, two or three surgeries on his hamstring. So anything can happen. So we'll
Yeah,
wait
yeah,
and watch.
and I don't think everything is okay between Gambhir and Pant. I don't think Gambhir, uh, is very fond of Rishabh Pant or his skills.
Uh, Now, just to the makeup of the spin attack. Now, there's a lot of talk about the fifth spinner being added to the squad, and Varun Chakravarthy was not even in the original mix. Came in, and the guy who was in the original mix, Washington Sundar, is on the sidelines. But Varun Chakravarthy came in, he bowled a terrific spell, match-winning spell, man of the match, and everything, or player of the match to be politically correct. Uh, the weapon, but his fielding still continues to be a bone of contention.
Chandresh doesn't matter uh, when he's taking 5 for 40 and the pitches on, and when you are playing on pitches where there is a little bit of help for the spinners, and the opposition batters being so inept at handling mystery spin, like when these three conditions are there, it doesn't matter if he lets go of 5-10 runs. It simply won't matter, because his bowling skills, teams will be like just scared of him. Either they will look to block, even if they look to block, they may get out to him, and if they try to take chances, they will get out to him. Like, I think India had gone in with this idea of playing four spinners even before they went to Dubai. They knew they are going to play four spinners the moment it came to New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, because this is what it was to be like going forward. So I think they had that in mind and they played it at the right time, and they're going to do that. It basically, Varun Chakravarti came in place of Jasprit Bumrah, because Jasprit Bumrah was the X factor bowler. He went out. J- Uh, Varun Chakravarti came in, and I think it's a good ploy, and they should stick to it. As uh, if at all, I think uh, if there has to be a change, Arshdeep should play in place of Shami. Arshdeep, I don't know why Arshdeep Singh is not playing. They will not do it. They will stick to the same combination. But I prefer Arshdeep Singh. He lends control in every sphere. In the beginning, in the middle, in the end. Arshdeep Singh is a very skilled bowler, and Shami is not at his best. And when you need two bowlers to you have only two pace bowlers. You They should be like a bank. So, but anyway, I don't think there will be any chopping and changing at this stage. And Varun Chakravarti is fine for now. For this tournament, is fine. Let's not look into his fielding at all.
Nitin, any changes for you? Because Varun did well against New Zealand, but would you want to
Yeah.
play your mystery card over and over again?
No, I what I think the team management has probably decided was because they knew that man to man they could beat Bangladesh and Pakistan without any mystery. I think as soon as the stronger opponents came, and opponents who may not have probably seen this kind of spin, they have introduced Varun, for these games. They had kept him for these games only, for the semi-final, final, and for the game against New Zealand. So, and I think they have played their cards well. I think we are going to have another dry, slow pitch. Although the curator might have had, 8 or 10 days to prepare for this contest, but I still think that the square itself is quite tired. So with all the traffic that has occurred on it since October November, so Varun is a lock-in after yesterday, and knowing how one of the tricks that I think India missed in that World Test Championship final as well as that World Cup final was the matchup of Travis Head versus Ashwin, and I think here with Varun, it will be a fabulous matchup because he's a good power play bowler, and I think Travis Head will go after him, including even I think McGurk might go after him, but I think therein lies India's chance to get their nemesis out early.
Dwepan, is there a chance that India could get too obsessed with Travis Head and maybe repeat the mistake that the Indian team of '96 did against Kalu Vitarna and Jayasurya? Uh, is Travis Head such a big factor that we miss the other players in their lineup?
No, Chandresh, like this is a different world. The pressures are different, and I don't think India will obsess so much about Travis Head. And uh, India is so far ahead of this Australian lineup on these conditions that I do not think there is any reason to be too worried about any one player. Like Travis Head is great. He has an element of threat to it, more than a threat, but India has the bowling to get him on these conditions. I do not think he is going to run away with the game here. They do not have a single player. Fraser McGurk, if they are going to play, he's going to fail. I have absolutely no doubt he is going to fail against this Indian team. Like Steve Smith, Marnus, these are the kind of players who can make a match of it if they get India to 230, 240, that kind of a total. But they do not have the bowling either to keep India to that total. So I think it's a bit of a mismatch, the semi-final. It will be a huge surprise if India loses tomorrow.
Nitin, do you agree with what Dwaiper is saying? Also, I wanted to ask you about the engine room of their innings, the Australian lineup: Glenn Maxwell, Josh Inglis, and Alex Carey. They're all coming after decent knocks against England, though Australia is coming in undercooked compared to the other
Yeah,
sides.
yeah. They haven't had game time, isn't it? I mean, they although Travis had that firecracker of a start against Afghanistan, where he just ran away with after the opening 10 overs. So I feel that they would not. I think they would have liked one more game. They would have liked a complete game against South Africa as well as against Afghanistan. Um, I feel their best chance is to bat first and get, I think, around 240, 250, and then hope that India has another 30 for 3 kind of a collapse. But I do not know whether Ellis, or now I hear that Connolly has been drafted into the squad to replace Matthew Short. I do not know whether Ellis and all have that potency to make further inroads and capitalize on that 30 for 3 scenario. It will have to be a case of India panicking from there and lose it. And I don't think this wicket. I don't think we have had a 250 scored here yet in all the 3 games. And I suspect that that might be the case again. Australia's best chance is to hope that one of either Travis Head or Glenn Maxwell or Inglis comes off and they get a 270, 280 above par score. And India in the in their quest of trying to match their run rate and in their quest of uh, scoring a few runs quickly again end up in a 30 for 3 situation, and then the Aussies can build the pressure up from there.
We have Gaurav back from the press conference. Gaurav, any insights from the Australian press conference?
Not really. I mean, I don't know how much interest Australia have in this tournament. There's not a single Australian media person here, covering this Champions Trophy. There were around 15 apparently for their tour of Sri Lanka before the Champions Trophy. So I guess they've all exhausted their budgets with that, their media persons. And Steve Smith was, we asked him about that. So he laughed and he said that, yeah, it's a, sort of it's a different, been a different tour that ways. To not be answering questions from their own media, but by and large, Steve Smith is somebody who plays it pretty safe. Didn't comment much on the hybrid model or this whole business of India playing 5 matches in a go in one venue, and you expect him to do that because I think he's somebody who generally likes to avoid controversy. Uh, you know, and but yeah, as Nitin was saying, I don't think we can underestimate Australia. The beauty about Australia is the moment the conditions are stacked up against them and nobody gives them a chance, they sort of come back with full vigor, which we saw something like that happen in the World Cup final as well, wherein India tried its best to make a pitch to its own advantage despite it being an ICC event, and we saw also what happened. They put their heart and soul with the ball in the first innings when India batted. And as Nitin said, if a collapse happens and suppose we have a KL Rahul really crawling his way to a half century, then don't be surprised if India end up with a below par total. And then with again, the batting is still pretty much strong with Travis Head being there, and Maxwell is also around, and the batting still looks pretty formidable. I mean, Steve Smith himself, with him, you never know what you'll get. He's a class act. They will unfortunately miss Matthew Short because he was injured, and I don't know Connolly how much he can. He just played 3 ODIs. How much he can be of use in this kind of a situation. But I think Josh Indy is another dangerous player whom India should be wary about. So all in all, it's a very unpredictable and dangerous team, which you can never know. And in ICC knockout, especially, they just tend to put on a different face altogether. So I think India will have a challenge on its hands.
Okay, final round of question to all three gentlemen, starting with you, Dwepen. Can India win the semi-final? Yes or no?
Of course, yes.
Nitin?
I think India are already in the final.
Oh, big call. Gigi, Nitin has already booked your stay till Monday morning. What is your take on it?
सर मुझे तो लगता है कि अगर इंडियन फैन से पूछा जाए तो मेरे भी जाने वाले इतने में वो चाह रहे थे कि कल इंडिया न्यूजीलैंड से हार जाए ताकि ऑस्ट्रेलिया से ना भिड़ना पड़े सेमीफाइनल में. यू कैन नेवर अंडर एस्टिमेट ऑस्ट्रेलिया. आई एम स्टिल टेलिंग यू, दे आर अ वेरी डेंजरस साइड. सडनली ट्रेविस हेड अगर सही साइड में उठ गए बैठ के और उनका मूड किया कि आज कुछ धमाका करते हैं, तो कुछ उल्टा सीधा वो ऐसा खेल जाएंगे. अब तो बुमराह भी नहीं है हमारे पास में, और अगर ये चारों स्पिनर की बॉल बराबर उनको बैट पे मिली तो फिर कुछ भी हो सकता है. So with them, I tend to be very wary. If this was any other team, India would have been 90-10 favorites. But with the Aussies, you never know. It's still 50-50. मैं तो यहाँ तक बोलूँगा.
So we have had a strange 33 minutes so far. We've got three Patriots and Gaurav on the other side. You can decide whatever name you want to call Gaurav, because throughout the course of the show, Gaurav was on the other side while the three Patriots were on the other side. So we leave it to your judgment, viewers. Please keep liking, sharing, subscribing the channel wherever you're watching. And if you're on YouTube, please keep pressing the notification bell. To the three gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us today. We'll be back again
Thank you.
tomorrow mid innings to review whatever has happened in that semi-final, the first semi-final of ICC Champions Trophy 2025. Till then, take good care of yourself. Good night.